Hey guys, you know what really grinds my gears? Liberals using basically everything possible against Trump with no limits whatsoever. There was the whole, haha, Trump totally loves Putin thing. Just casually throwing LGBT people under the bus because I guess when Trump is the target, that makes everything okay. From the same centrist liberals who consider themselves to be woke. Yep. I want to talk about something else very similar from this crappy, cheap hotel room in Uruguay where it's extremely hot and I'm currently dying. There's this psychiatrist, Bandy X. Lee. She's not the only one who's done this, but she's pretty much by far the most prominent. And well, in the last 2 years or so, she's basically become like a bit of a minor media darling off of doing nothing but diagnosing Trump with mental illnesses from afar and then packaging that in with the implication that these mental illnesses are the reason why he does the things that he does. For example, her entire Twitter feed is pretty much nothing but her translating Trump's tweets, not from blowhard dumbass or asshole or anything like that, but the implication is that she's translating his tweets from mentally ill person to normal. There's a lot more than that too. For example, she wrote a book on this whole thing, and I get the feeling she's basically a massive grifter, and that's really her motivation behind this. Now, let me explain my problem with this, and the problem that I think really anyone should have with this. This very clearly stigmatizes mental illness. It's implying that Donald Trump, who has always been a reprehensible, awful person, is doing the things that he does not because he's a reprehensible, awful person, but because he's mentally ill. And this is obviously implying that it's bad to be mentally ill. And this is coming from a psychiatrist, a mental health professional, who, ethically speaking, should not be diagnosing anyone who is not her patient. And even then, she should be keeping those diagnoses private, not writing books about them. But wait, there's more. Worse still, she's gotten plenty of criticism from mental health advocates, people with mental illnesses themselves. And when they very, very respectfully express their concerns to her on Twitter or whatever else, she just blocks them. This is pretty much the worst kind of grifting that I can imagine outside of far-right grifting. She throws the very people that her profession is supposed to be helping under the bus in order to make herself famous and in order to totally own Donald Trump. And I mean, she has accomplices in this as well. The people who published her book, the news outlets that keep giving her a platform for this garbage. Essentially, liberal America as a whole is responsible for this, not just this one person. She's also not the only psychiatrist who's contributing to this sort of stuff, as I said. For example, there was an open letter written about how Donald Trump immediately needs to be committed or something like that, with 350 psychiatrists signing it. Disgusting. Let me ask you guys in the audience who might be mentally ill or, who might suffer from mental illness in the future, would you want Bandy X. Lee to treat you? I can tell you guys as someone who's been to psychologists and psychiatrists in the past, as I imagine most people have, God no. Absolutely God no. Fuck no. Never in a million years. How could you trust her? How could anyone trust her? How could anyone trust any medical professional like her? Someone who's so willing to throw not just their own patients, but basically everyone with a mental illness in the entire world under the bus just to get one up over Trump. Now, this shouldn't need explaining, but I don't think having a mental illness should be exclusionary from being a president or any sort of government official or whatever. But what she's saying here is that if you have a mental illness, if you struggle with this sort of thing, you shouldn't be able to be the president. You should be committed. You should have an intervention. You should be tossed in an asylum, basically. Now, the reason Donald Trump is the way he is not because he has some sort of, mental illness or a combination of mental illness that makes him this way. It's because he's a massive fucking dumbass. He's been a massive fucking dumbass his entire life. These are personality flaws. They aren't mental illnesses. But anyway, that's all. I just wanted to bring what little attention that I can to this. So yeah, that's all, guys. See ya. Give me money on Patreon. Give me money now. Give me money. I'm a grifter. Give me money. Buy my book. Buy my book. Donald Trump has a mental illness. God.